Hey, everybody, and welcome to the session on three developer stories and the solutions that save the day. I'm your host, Ian Cooper. I manage the professional services and technical onboarding teams over here at dotCMS. Basically, that means I have the privilege of working with customers every single day and doing a lot of different cool things in terms of use cases and the different ways that people are trying to spin up web applications with dotCMS. But today, I have the distinct pleasure of having three panelists with me that are going to share some really interesting different kinds of use cases that they've been working on, both in their companies and for other folks as well. So what I want to do to really set the stage is introduce these folks, starting with Brad Lapidus. So Brad is a senior partner and principal consultant at DSS Partners. And Brad, we've been really lucky to work with you and your team supporting some user-focused experiences, leveraging some best-of-breed technology. But would you like to maybe introduce yourself super quickly for the group
Yeah,
here before we dive into things?
absolutely. And thanks everybody for having us. My name is Brad Lapidus. I'm one of the original founders of DSS Partners. We've been in operation for almost 17 years now. And we're a system integrator. So we implement e-commerce sites and best in breed platforms. And we are actually going ahead and productizing an integration with best of breed e-commerce with best in breed CMS, in this case, .cms. So very excited to tell the story of the journey.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brad. Also with us today, we have Jim Kresge over at the Endowment Project. Really excited to have Jim, especially with the mission that the Endowment Project does. Jim, would you like to talk a little bit about what the Endowment Project is and anything about what you do over at the Endowment Project?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ian. So, also very happy to be here. Excited to tell the story today. I'm Jim Kresge. Been building software my entire career, more than 30 years now. Spent about 20 years at Capital One in different software and technology leadership positions, and then the last 8 years have been in startups in the fintech and edtech space. I am currently the Chief Technology Officer at the Endowment Project, which is a really fascinating mission-driven startup that is bringing private school fundraising practices to U.S. public high schools to elevate student and teacher outcomes in education across the entire U.S. So a really exciting place to be, very technology driven. That's how we do the fundraising activities, and excited to be able to tell the story today how we use dotCMS as a key partner there.
Awesome. Really excited to hear that, Jim. Thank
Yeah.
you. And finally, Lisa McCusker is a principal web UI developer at World Travel Holdings. But Lisa, I think we know that you have more hats than just that over there. Would you mind telling the group a little bit about what you do over at World Travel Holdings?
Sure. I've been with World Travel Holdings for about 19 years now. My software development history goes well beyond that. I've been a developer for 32 years, almost completely in the travel industry, although I did take a small detour into government work for a short time. Our company basically is one of the largest travel providers on the internet. If you've bought a cruise on the internet, you've probably bought it from us. We are the technology behind most cruise providers on the web, have some very large partners like United, BJ's, Southwest, and many, many more. We basically want to bring our customers the most updated product for their vacation experience. And we've been using dotCMS in order to do that as quickly as possible. Our company mission is to deliver a remarkable experience, and we definitely want to do that by bringing product, promotions, deals, and hand-picked items and content to customers as quickly as possible, but also balancing it with performance. So I've spent a lot of time over the past several years improving our architecture, doing some system administration and things like that to improve it. So we were really happy to choose dotCMS for our content solutions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lisa. Can't wait to dive into that a little bit deeper as well. Great. So now that we all know who we're chatting with, Brad, I want to turn it over to you because I know you've spent a lot of time, with our team and also some of your other, technology partners building some really interesting solutions. I'd love you to maybe give us a little bit of an insight of, what the challenge is that you're, addressing with that option and, how you really progress in that development.
Yeah, absolutely. Be glad to. So like I said, we're a system implementer, so we work with all kinds of different best in breed commerce platforms. Right now, we've built an integration with dotCMS into Intershop, which is a fantastic commerce platform. And we kind of have it productized, like I said earlier, ready to go out of the box. And what we do is over our last, many, many years of experience, we constantly see things evolving and try to stay ahead of those trends. And one of the trends we're seeing right now is that everybody's going to a headless commerce. They're going to headless commerce. They're going to progressive web apps, right? They're using technologies like Angular and everything else to go ahead and create their products. Well, that goes ahead and a lot of times says you got to use these commerce platforms that don't have a very rich CMS. Okay, that's not what their business is. So what we saw is we need all that rich back-end commerce functionality. Customers need to be able to do payments and taxes and reporting and invoicing and self-service. CMSs aren't going to give you that, but the commerce engines don't give you that ease of use. So what we're seeing is a big divide between your digital marketing teams and your IT teams and dependencies on the digital marketing team with your IT teams. Hey, we want to change the structure of the homepage. Okay, that'll be 3 weeks. Instead of the click and drag and very easy power in the hands of the user that dotCMS provides to digital marketers. So what we did is we went ahead and we married the two and we said, hey, you come to us, we're going to give you this Intershop implementation, and it's going to have dotCMS already integrated. And by the way, we're taking additional use cases, things like, hey, I want to go ahead and put featured categories on my homepage. I want to put featured products on my homepage. I don't want to have to store those in multiple areas. So we've created integrations where, and I'll show you this a little bit later if we have some time on the demo, is you can go into your product information system, your PIM. It'll automatically download to the commerce engine and instantaneously be available in dotCMS to focus on the homepage, to assign it to a carousel, to use different things. So we've got a lot of different use cases that we've built in there. The key here is take what commerce does well and provide that strength to the teams that use it, but also go ahead and give a tool to the marketing team that gives them the strength and the power and the autonomy to control the look and the feel and the experience. And we think this is going to be something that every customer is going to want.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I mean, like you mentioned, there's a lot of competing needs that you're trying to satisfy in between these groups, right?
Absolutely.
How do you really get your arms around, we're still going to provide that great developer experience while not sacrificing for the business users? What is that, come to Jesus moment, so to speak, to walk both lines?
You have it on every project. Honestly, almost every project for at least the last 10 years, we have that. And that's why we're proactively trying to say, look, we know that there's things that are more technology and integration using, APIs and things of that nature that are definitely needed from the commerce side and from the business side and from the accounting side and all those areas. But the digital marketers, sometimes they get left behind, right? And that's where dotCMS comes in. That's where this kind of an integration where you can click and drag and inline edit and do all these wonderful things. And very quickly, I can create a page in dotCMS and show it on my PWA site in probably about 3 to 5 minutes. Digital marketers don't have that with giant commerce platforms. So this is just a way for us to go ahead and say, hey, this is an important part of the puzzle. One of the first things that customers see when they come to your site, let's go ahead and make sure that we're empowering people to go ahead and utilize it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, but maybe you could peel the onion, so to speak, go
Sure.
a layer deeper. How exactly does that come to? You mentioned you have the PWA, front end.
Oh, sure. You want to
How
talk
does
about the
this work?
technology a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah, let's
Yeah,
talk. Yeah, let's dig
absolutely.
into what you're using.
Absolutely. So what we do is, in this case, like I said, InterShop is the platform that we've integrated with. And what we do is we have kind of three things that are working within that. So we have our Angular site, which we call our accelerator store. You'll hear me refer to it as DS. It's a very simple acronym, the DSS InterShop Accelerator Store. So we built that, and we have things like different displays, different widgets to add things to quotes or to add things to orders, so on and so forth. Well, because we want to leverage all that kind of stuff, we let e-commerce control that. We let the commerce engine control that. But if we want to enable that on the homepage, we need a way for the marketers to say, I want to show this product. I want to show this category. So what we did is we created widgets within dotCMS. And dotCMS makes it really, really easy to write JavaScript. You don't even have to deploy code. You just write it right in the admin app. We write that JavaScript. That JavaScript then calls APIs that we expose to be able to pull that data in and expose it to the marketer to utilize within dotCMS. Then we go ahead and we use the page as a service architecture that dotCMS has to go ahead and just render that page on the actual site on the internet, right? Without having to go ahead and do, different publishes or different, workflows or so on and so forth.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so you're effectively trying to say, hey, we don't want everybody to have to work in multiple systems and digging back and forth and then maybe losing visualization. We need to have a unified experience, even if it is disparate technologies that we're leveraging.
Right. And we've actually created kind of a hybrid approach. So when I show you the site and I do a little bit of a demo when we have some time, like our header, for instance, you can control the shopping and the category navigation, which is coming from the commerce engine, but all other subsequent pages are coming from the CMS built pages. So you're able to actually go ahead and use a hybrid of best of both worlds in such a small component as the site header.
Well, Brad, there's no time like the present, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's an interesting
let's
concept.
see it.
Yeah,
Right?
let's do that. I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen here. You guys should be seeing a shoe store, sneaker warehouse. What you're going to see here is you're seeing the actual .cms admin panel, right? And most of you guys are going to be familiar with this. I'm not going to go too much into the out-of-the-box functionality. But what you can see here is you can see that this shop right here, this is all of our category structures and our subcategories. This is controlled through Commerce Engine. We have a quick order where we can come in here, we can type in part numbers, and we can go ahead and add that item directly to the cart. This is, again, controlled from the Commerce Engine, okay? Everything else, your shoe blogs, your buying guides, your testing processes, these are actually pages that are created and added to this site header through CMS, okay? So you've got a hybrid approach. We're using search, we're using our shopping experience and our quick order functionality. This is all coming, your sign in, your registration. This is Commerce does this best. Let's use that. But everything else that you see here is driven off of the actual experience created in .cms.
So when you're showing the marketers this functionality, what's the first thing that sticks out to them? What are they most excited about?
I'm going to show you that in just a quick second. So if I come back to my home page here, okay, there's actually two things that are really, really great. You can see here we have these featured category carousels, and you can see, actually you can't see that screen. So you'll see the featured categories carousels here. And what's great about this is traditionally they have to type stuff in, they have to load in new images, they need to go ahead and do a whole bunch of duplicate work to be able to show this through a CMS. What we've done here is we've created this widget. This is a DSS created .cms widget, and you can see we're pulling in our exact category structure, including images. So these images don't exist in CMS. They exist in the Commerce Engine. This data, all these subcategories, everything is coming. All I got to do is click this box, and now it shows up in my featured product carousels, or my featured category carousels. It's the same thing for products, right? So if I come in here and I look at these products, right, I can go ahead and click whichever products I want, and I can go ahead and add them here. The other thing we can do.
just a quick question here. You're not
Yeah,
even interacting with the CMS workflow. You're just triggering it directly from that UI.
right. Because what we did is we created a JavaScript widget within .cms that calls our APIs to pull this data in and make it available to the
Hmm.
digital marketer. Okay.
That's cool.
So this is one thing that they absolutely love. And just a little bit of a preview for you guys, this whole featured products that we're highlighting here, we're actually currently working on our next step, iteration 2 of this, which is going to be a AI recommendations integrated in through .cms. So
Wow.
we're working on it as well. That one's not ready to show you yet, but that's kind of the next iteration of where we're going to go with this. The other thing we can do is you can see the way we have this gray background. I can do quick view. So again, this quick view, this is a component of that Angular application in Intershop, but I can see it, I can utilize it, I can preview it within the .cms instance. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I can do here, which is kind of cool, is if I come down here and I've got layout 3, if I don't want to show it like this, I want to show it like this, I can click there. You can see it's a different user experience. So if I want to have this on the home page and show one experience, but I want to use it on checkout, let's say, and go ahead and use a different experience, I can do that. Okay.
That's really cool.
The
That's really
last thing
cool,
that's
Brad.
super, super cool that we did is we did something that's kind of a hotspot, like a tooltip. And again, this is something we created in Angular, but exposed into .cms so the digital marketers can use it. This is a virtual shopping aisle. Okay. You can think of it as it can be a room, it can be whatever. You have these hotspots where I can click here, I can add that item to my cart, I can preview it in line, I can do that straight from here with these hotspots. And what's great about this is we've gone ahead and created something where you, again, we call our APIs, we pull in the products that we want to use, right, to assign them without having to duplicate content. And then we add an image here. And then what we can do is we can click and drag these guys wherever we want. And the other thing we can do is say, hey, based on where I have this, this is on the top, so I want this to load on the bottom when somebody hovers, or to the right, or to the left, or wherever. So it gives a lot of really cool functionality to the digital marketer. But again, everything they're doing here is utilizing stuff that's coming from your PIM or your commerce system and just enabling them to utilize that without having to actually duplicate the data, the images, upload new things, so on and so forth.
I think we might have to have a part 2, a part 3 of this at some point, Brad. This is super cool. Yeah, there's a
And
lot
by
of
then,
rich functionality.
absolutely, we're super excited about it. And if I could just let you know, we've actually done 2 trade shows recently. We did one a couple of months ago. Actually, we did it with .cms out in Chicago, Illinois, here in the U.S. We also just did one about 2 weeks ago out in France. So we're doing a lot of marketing in the European markets with this as well. And people are seeing this, and we're getting lots and lots of requests for full demos and RFPs and things like that. So it's already starting to generate a good amount of buzz and excitement.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, Brad. Thanks so much for sharing all of this.
Absolutely.
I think that that there's definitely going to be folks that are going to be curious and have follow-up questions for you in terms of how all this works. Digging a little bit deeper. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot more time now, but maybe you could let anyone that joined tell them how they could best find you and connect with you, so they could dig a little bit deeper there.
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to go ahead and do that is just go straight to www.dss-partners.com, and I'm sure you guys have that in the follow-up. But if you go to our website, you can actually schedule a demo right from the website. The other thing is you guys have my LinkedIn information as well that you'll do that. You guys can hit me up on LinkedIn. You guys can text me. You can call me. You can do whatever you want. But the easiest way is just go to the website, schedule a demo, and we'd be happy to get back to you guys.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks so much, Brad. And
Absolutely.
yeah. Hey, Jim, I want to put you
Yeah.
on the spot next,
All right, let's do it.
because I know that you guys have a lot of different sites on .cms, and you're supporting, like you said in your intro, you're supporting private high school fundraising for public high schools.
Yes.
Maybe you could, dig a little bit farther
Yeah.
into how that all works, and what you're really doing to support. I guess right now, hundreds of sites, right?
Yeah.
On .cms for all these high schools.
Yeah, I'd love to. First of all, Brad, that was great. Thanks for sharing that. That was super interesting. I'm wanting to see an
Sure.
architecture diagram sometime. Maybe we can chat about that.
Yeah, hit me up, Jim. I'd be happy to show it to you.
So, as I said, the endowment project is bringing private school fundraising practices to U.S. public high schools. We're starting with high schools. We will expand to schools in general. But basically, we want to be the fundraising engine for every high school in the U.S. You can think of it almost as like fundraising as a service, FAS. I think we maybe coined that term. We're starting we're in the midst of sort of proving the concept right now, where we are partnered with all 324 high schools in the state of Virginia. So we're starting in Virginia, proving the concept here, and then we're going to be expanding nationwide. And one of the key linchpins of our strategy is to have a donation site, a giving site for each school that we're partnered with. A big part of insight into the business is that people do have an affinity for their personal high school that they went to and graduated from. Not so much the school district or the state or whatever. It's like actually like the real high school that they went to with the mascot and all their friends
Yeah.
and the dances
They
and the
got their
sports and
yearbook.
all that. Yeah, exactly. People want to be engaged with their specific school. So we have a giving site basically for every high school in the state of Virginia. And the challenge for us there is to make each and every site feel very specific to that particular high school, but also have the overall technology and software architecture construct be something that is highly scalable and easy to manage over time. So what we did was we sort of defined a bit of like an outline of what a site would look like, and then described a fairly large set of variables that we could use to customize how the site shows up, depending on which particular school site you're going to. Everything from visual elements of the school logo, the fund for my particular high school, the school colors, primary and secondary colors, place for mascots, the school founding year, even like very detailed information. We recruit alumni advisors for each school, so a section for that highlights specific alumni. We put this construct together where you can sort of have the shell, the outline of a particular school site, but then you have all these custom elements that are very much school specific.
Yeah, Jim,
Yeah,
that's really interesting to me because I think, we hit on it with Brad. I'm sure we're going to hit on it with Lisa too. Sort of a theme for, all of us, developers these days is we get thrown so many different requirements our
yeah,
way. And it's how can we satisfy them, and sometimes, even my position, people are like, one website, please,
yeah,
and you say, okay, well, let's dig a few layers
yeah.
deeper. How are we going to do that? So, it sounds like you have some experts on your side, but you have all of these inputs that you want to provide. How did you get to them? How did you decide this is, if we're going to eventually support 25,000 high schools and maybe even more schools, how are you creating a framework where you're confident it's going to be bought in by these
Yeah.
high schools and it's going to resonate with them?
Yeah, I mean, we went through a fairly exhaustive design phase as we were architecting the initial solution, and really, shopped it around internally and with advisors, thinking about like what the best companies in the world in the fundraising space do, and really just thought deeply about what elements are going to resonate and feel sort of my school specific to graduates. That was a big part of the work that we did. And we came to this spot where we knew we needed some solution that was going to help us manage a multi-site capability. And dotCMS was a great. We actually got some recommendations from a few folks that had used dotCMS in a similar construct. There's a few of your partners that have done similar things, and we got some good advice that a good multi-site solution was .cms, and then we could figure out how to really get custom elements in there in the way that was easy to do and scalable. So we started using the multi-site management capability, and initially we defined a lot of these school-specific customizations as site variables in .cms. And what we found as we really got into it was that got us a great set of initial sites. But then if we wanted to go and change those site variables on a broad basis, if we wanted to update the site variables for 100 sites or 200 sites, it became a little bit of a one at a time exercise for us. So we didn't have the automation possibilities there that we really wanted to. We ended up changing the architecture actually about 6 months in to use a specific content type that we called site configuration that now holds all the different content variables.
Yeah.
And those we can update one at a time. We can use some of the mass change API functionality to update everything across the board as we want to. So we're in this space where we're really not locked into anything now. We can update everything across all sites, within a matter of minutes if we wanted to, or we can change sites one at a time if we want to. It's at a really sort of exciting place for us. Maybe I could show you what.
And real quick, it's funny because I saw a little smirk, from Lisa. That site config, that sounded familiar, right?
By the way, I heard Lisa might have me outdone, and she meant have like orders of magnitude more sites than me. So I'm not. I realize we're new at this.
Yeah, and we even use the same language you do with site config.
So if I share, let me share this. This is just what one of our school sites looks like. And I'll show you where some of the customization comes in. So first of all, the school colors. This is Open High School is a high school. It's actually here in Richmond, Virginia, where I'm from. The first thing you notice are the school colors, these sort of gold and black. We have unique logos. We have the school name uniquely identified. We have a bunch of different giving options that are available, different projects that are on the go at our schools. We oftentimes have an annual fund, which are unrestricted funds that can be used in the areas of greatest need. We have scholarship fund, we have teacher development fund. All of these things, these images and funds actually, this is sort of similar to what we were hearing about before. These things are actually being pulled in through a set of APIs. The front end in some sections of the sites are written in React. We're pulling in some of these additional elements through our fundraising system, which is a back-end system of record that holds a lot of the project and giving information.
So another hybrid approach.
So another hybrid solution. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. And then we have the school founding year. We have some specifics about the alumni advisors for the school. Anyway, we have a construct there that lets the site look very school specific. Like if I'm a graduate of Open High School and I go to that site, I'm like, oh, this is my school. This is the school colors. I have images and graphics that relate to the demographics of the school. I see these projects on offer. I can learn how to get involved. I can learn how to give. I can sign up to be a part of it. What we've effectively done is made something that sort of feels very specific and really ties into that affinity for your specific school, but we can really manage it at a mass scale really efficiently and scale it and really get to that place where fundraising as a service for U.S. public high schools is a real thing.
That's really interesting. So, out of curiosity, is there a couple other examples? Who's using this? Who's updating content? Are these people? Are you acting as like a consultancy or like an agency where they put in requests and they're updating it? Are other people using the CMS? And how does that work?
Today it's actually just us. One of our biggest, it truly is fundraising as a service. We're providing the technology, we're providing the fundraising expertise separately from my team that's going out and engaging the communities in terms of giving. So at the moment, it's very much a body of work that's taken on by the Endowment Project and our organization. One of the big selling points to the schools is you really don't have to do anything to start to realize this benefit. You have to want to have better funding for your school and have good ideas about what to do with the money. That's really all that's required. But I think as we grow and scale, one of the other things that sort of makes me comfortable that we are, secure for the long term, we're built to grow, is that as we do get larger, more partners, inevitably some of them will want to be more involved in the actual hands-on development of the solutions and what the key messages are. And I feel like we're in a great spot where we can start to allow people to engage and use this technology. For now, as we're proving out the concept, it's mostly us, but I think we're well positioned to, have a large user base as well of partners as we grow.
Yeah. I mean, selling points to me these days are, oh, I don't have to do anything and I get something, sign me up.
Yes.
So I think
Yes,
you hit the nail on
exactly.
the head right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Thanks so much for sharing this,
You
Jim.
bet.
I think it's a really exciting mission that you guys have over
Thanks a
there,
lot.
and something we can all connect to.
If you want to learn more about the endowment project, if you'd like to work with us, or if you think your high school is ready for the endowment project to be a part of it, come to tepf.org, the Endowment Project Foundation.org, tepf.org. Learn about the endowment project. You can send us a request through the site there. And if you want to get in touch with me directly, you can find me on LinkedIn. I think I'm James Kresge. After the LinkedIn/in, it's James Kresge, and you can find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Lisa, I want to put you on the spot next because, I personally am invested. We've had a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings since, getting things up and running at World Travel Holdings. You have just some really interesting use cases, and I know like there could be like five or six to choose from. But what I'm curious for you is at your day job, whether it's .cms or not, what gets you out of bed that you're most excited to be like, yeah, we delivered this, and this is my focus, and this is
Yeah.
what drives me. What is that for you at WTH?
Well, right since day one, 19 years ago, our biggest focus has been getting our product, our messages, our marketing, our promotions, all of our information to the customers as fast as possible. And when a customer loads our page, having that page be able to load a huge amount of information backed by massive quantities of data as fast as possible for a good user experience, but also to benefit our SEO placement so that more people can find us. So balancing the massive amount of data that we have to search through and query through and present with the speed both to market and also of loading and performance of our applications, it's a delicate balance, right? Because the more data you have and the more data you have to search through every time someone makes a request, the slower your page is going to be. But you want a fast page, so you have to find a way to bring that data to the customer in a really in a really convenient way. So
Yeah.
yeah, so over time, we've tried lots of different ways of doing this, right? Everything from, back in the day, manual, human-driven data updates of sites where you're pushing code thousands of times a day to keep up with the demand, right? That's not a sustainable model. It's all we had 30 years ago, I'll say that, but now we can be much more automated about it. So utilizing layers of application caching, data caching, product caching, and most importantly to this conversation, content management, we've been able to greatly improve the speed that we can get products to market for in front of our customers, and also balance how fast things load. We all know that a lot of traffic nowadays is mobile-based, right? And phones don't have the capacity of the large desktops that people have. So we have to balance everything from image quality to data queries to everything else, right? So I think I'm just going to show you a few things that we're doing.
Yeah, that'd be great. And maybe if
Share
you
my
could also
screen.
put it a little bit in context of, because there's so many layers, right, to what you're speaking of. And I
There's
think
so
of
many
like,
layers.
I put myself in the shoes, of say a marketer, business user, what kind, if you could maybe sketch like
Yeah,
what kind of requests would come your way, because
sure.
they say something and then there's at least 5 or 6 layers deep, that
Right.
I got to deal with to have something come through here.
Right. So one of our biggest complications, and I think we share this with both of our other users, is that we are maintaining multiple sites. When I say multiple sites, I actually mean about 5,000 different brands. Um, yeah, so we need to be able to uh, maintain each brand's unique identity. And that could be, a customer like a partner of ours like Priceline, for example, or Booking.com, as you're seeing passing through the screen here, or even one of our franchise agents who franchises our software and runs their own travel agency. Each one of our customers has a unique voice, and each one of our customers wants to bring a different type of product to their guests, right? So you could talk about a website like cruises.com, which is one of our flagship websites. So that's this site here. This is actually a brand that my company owns personally, so it's us selling our own product. And as we go through the site, you can see that we're actually displaying pricing on the home page as we'll call it from pricing or lead pricing. This pricing can literally change minute by minute. And because of all the different layers of caching on our sites, from product pricing caching to web page caching all the way through, it can take some time for us to actually be able to update this price. Maybe this 275 price, which is the lowest price for this particular cruise line, maybe that one has sold out. And if we can't get that to our customers quickly, they're going to be disappointed when they come to our site and they realize, oh my goodness, this isn't available anymore. Or maybe Royal Caribbean has a new price, and their new price is, 209 from 209. And if that price is available and we can't tell our customers that we have it, that can be, a huge drag for our business. Not only that, every single one of our agents, all 5,000 of them, may want to feature something different in this spot, right? Maybe not this cruise, but maybe one of the other 10,000 cruises that are available right now, right? So we have this kind of web of updated pricing, updated availability, and personally managed curated product on our sites, right? So as I click into this link, I go to a page where a brand, and that could be cruises.com, it could be Priceline, it could be United Airlines, or it could be an individual franchisee agent, where they can come in and curate their messages to their customers, customized, and which product they're going to feature. So all of this, we are in development now, but all of this is going to be managed through dotCMS. We're basically going to be pushing our pricing data into the system and allowing our agents and our internal, full service developers to use all of that data to create pages, to create deals, to change content, and to push that out immediately to the customer. We don't have application releases in the way that are only every 2 weeks anymore. It can be kind of a minute-to-minute change. If we have an emergency in the middle of the day, like, oh my goodness, Royal Caribbean has a new ship, right? It's called Icon of the Seas. We have new product for this brand new ship, and we want to be the first ones to get this product out. Well, we don't have to wait till the next release anymore, right? We'll push all that data into dotCMS, any one of our content people. It doesn't matter if they're a full service developer who can write Java code or if they're somebody who is a marketer who just wants to change a message. Any one of them can then go in and easily build one of these pages, link it to our site, push it out, and we're done, right?
Well, yeah, that's really really interesting, Lisa. And yeah, I think one of the things that's top of mind for me is the how, right? How did you architect this so it could be easy for a marketer to do this, but still make sure that you're getting the correct data, over to them.
Yeah. So, in our internal systems, step back before .cms, every time one of these pages would load, this hand-curated content, the content has to be built, right? The HTML has to be built, the SQL queries have to be built, everything has to run. You press the button and, all the queries run and the page takes forever to load and oh my goodness, it's a mess, right? So what we did instead was we identified all the requirements of what would appear on these pages. We built new APIs to gather all of this pricing data on the fly, push it into the .cms system as content, basically as content elements, and make those content elements available to our marketing team developers, whoever is going to come into the system and use it, using keys and values. So they say, okay, I want to feature a certain cruise, and they know what cruise it is, so they take the cruise identifier, the date range that they want, the cruise line that they want, all of the keys that they want, and it automatically will pull in the right price for that little location. So like if you come down here, they've chosen this Royal Caribbean 4-night cruise. All they have to choose is Royal Caribbean and the identifier for this cruise, and all of this other data is immediately available to them. They can, display it how they want. They can show or not show the bonus offers. They can add a custom bonus offer, and they will have the accurate pricing up to the minute for availability available to them right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Great.
and they don't have to think about most of that stuff.
Right, and back in the day, they had to think about all of this data, right, and how to get a price accurate, manually entering. So 5 minutes from now, this price could be wrong, right? It isn't always that quick, but literally speaking, this price will change frequently, sell out, or they might even open up a new rate that will be lower than this. So at any time, we want to make sure that this price is the most accurate and the best value for the customer. And each one of our agents has a different need, right? Some of our agents, they only sell luxury product. They have a different way of speaking to their customer. They have a different way of displaying price. They have a different way of, speaking about bonuses to give to their customers. So whatever the need is, as long as the data is available and it's regularly updated through our API jobs that run throughout the day, then everything is updated. And then one more layer that we put on top of that is we have a CDN that serves the HTML. So once the page is rendered inside of .cms, we take that rendered HTML, we push it to a CDN, and now when a customer on their phone comes to it, there's no SQL queries, there's no database calls, there's none of that. It is fully rendered HTML that just pops into the browser. It's like an instantaneous page load. So it's
Nice.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Nice.
That's really huge. It's I think that's one of the fights that we all have today is how do we make things easy while still not sacrificing performance. We know that I personally have that attention span of a hamster. If I'm waiting 2 seconds, I'm gone. You can't
exactly.
sacrifice that.
Yeah, and in speaking to our competitors and all of that, there's so much data to manage. At any given time, we have 10,000 cruises that can span out 3 years or more with all of the data related to that, whether it's location and ports and offers and marketing and messaging and all of that. And getting all that data, making it into a logical message and presenting it in a way that speaks to the customer you want to speak to, that's a pretty complicated process, right? Yep. So 5,000 agents, not all of them are developers. They need an easy way to display the product that they want to show their customers in the best and the fastest way.
That's phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing this, Lisa. And maybe you could just, for anyone else that's curious, let them know they could find you if they want to learn a little bit more.
Sure. Well, our main website for our company is worldtravelholdings.com. You'll find all of our partner websites on there. You'll also find a way to be a franchisee if you want to have your own travel agency, and any of the careers within WTH are on that site as well. And to reach me, you have my LinkedIn, Lisa McCusker.
Fantastic. Well, hey, I want to thank all of our wonderful panelists for their time today, and hopefully we're all leaving invigorated with some interesting questions for them and ideas for whatever we're working on today. Appreciate you taking the time to spend with us for dotConnect 2024, and hope that you enjoy the rest of the sessions, everybody.